Welcome back to the program. So, we are unleashing epic fury for real on Iran. They don't stand a chance. I knew they weren't going to stand a chance. I knew they were not going to do anything. And I do not believe that China or Russia, certainly not Russia because they're bogged down with Ukraine, but even China, they're afraid of us, thankfully, and they're afraid of President Trump. So, this is just us and quite frankly, a few Gulf states that are also joining in into the fray as well, which is kind of interesting. But I want you to listen to Secretary of State, the greatest Secretary of State in history, as far as I'm concerned, Marco Rubio, and listen to what he says. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you the head, Brad Cooper, the head of Centcom, and he'll kind of fill in the blanks of what Marco's talking about.
Point I would make is, and I said this yesterday and I repeat, what's about to, you're about to see, we're going to unleash Chang on these people in the next few hours and days. You're going to really begin to perceive a change in the scope and in the...
When he says release Chang, that means Chiang Kai-shek is what that means. It basically is a reference back to being able to defeat the Chinese in and around Taiwan.
Intensity of these attacks as, frankly, the two most powerful air forces in the world take apart this terroristic regime and defang it and take away its ability to threaten its neighbors or hide behind a zone of immunity that allows them to develop their nuclear ambitions. This terroristic, radical, cleric-led regime cannot be ever allowed to have nuclear weapons. We saw what they were willing to do to their own people. They were willing to slaughter their own people in the streets. Imagine what they would do to us. Imagine what they would do to others. Under President Trump, that will never, ever happen.
So that was Marco discussing that. Now, he mentioned something that I thought was pretty interesting. He said that they were developing a shield, basically, around their nuclear program. So in other words, what they were doing is they were making sure that they had so many missiles and were able to put the nuclear weapons and the uranium enrichment facilities and all that back down even lower than they were going to be when we blew them up in June. And so this is a regime that only responds to one thing: violence and death. That's it. Okay? And that's why if they were able to be, God forbid, having nuclear weapons, this would not have been a negotiation. This would not have been a mass mutual destruction, which again, as I've pointed out in the past, the Reykjavik Accords, right, with Gorbachev and Reagan, well, why did the Cold War end? Obviously, tear down this wall, but why did it really end? Because of mass mutual destruction. I bomb you, you bomb me, I kill you, you kill me, everybody dies, nobody wins, right? Not with Iran. Their whole goal is to die for their God, for Allah, right? And so how do you fight an enemy who wants to die in battle? I mean, even the Ayatollah said he's looking forward to being martyred. He wasn't even looking and trying to hide himself underground in bunkers like Nasrallah or anything. No, he was just out and about. He didn't care. He wanted to be martyred. So when you're fighting an enemy that wants to be martyred, that's a harder enemy. So God forbid an enemy that wanted to die and didn't care if you lived or died, like in mass mutual destruction between the Cold War, Russia, and the United States, that's a pretty dangerous enemy. And with nuclear weapons, forget about it. It is the most dangerous enemy. And so that's why, ultimately, we absolutely had to do this and do it now. And thankfully, we're getting a lot of help from Israel, and they're doing a hell of a job. And it's just amazing. This is, what is his name? I believe his name is it Brad Cooper? Yeah, he is the head of Centcom, Admiral Cooper. And he will talk to you right now about what's going on, and I'll stop it a few times, but this is very interesting.
Admiral Brad Cooper, the commander of United States Central Command. In this capacity, I lead U.S. military forces in the Middle East. I'm here to provide you an update on Operation Epic Fury, now on our 4th day of execution. First, I'd like to express my deepest condolences to the families and teammates of the extraordinary Americans who've been killed in action, and I'd also like to extend our prayers for a speedy recovery to the wounded. Yesterday, you heard from Secretary Hegseth and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs. Today, I'd like to give you an operational update on where we are and provide you with some key facts. By order of the President of the United States and the Secretary of War, our military in the Middle East is undertaking an unprecedented operation to eliminate Iran's ability to threaten Americans, as they've been doing for nearly half a century. Having spent more than 36 years in the military, I could not be prouder of America's sons and daughters in uniform who are answering the call. More than 50,000 troops, 200 fighters, 2 aircraft carriers, and bombers from the United States are participating in this operation, and more capability is on the way.
More capabilities are on the way. It's about to get crazy.
These forces bring a massive amount of firepower, representing the largest buildup by the U.S. in the Middle East in a generation.
The largest buildup in a generation, and the largest buildup was the Iraq War in the beginning in 1990 with the first Iraq War.
In the opening hours of Operation Epic Fury, U.S. Central Command forces, together with Israel, delivered overwhelming and unprecedented strikes into Iran. Many of you may remember the shock and awe strikes of 2003. The first 24 hours of this operation were nearly double the scale, and we continue with 24/7 strikes into Iran from seabed to space and cyberspace. Now, we're less than 100 hours into this operation, and we've already struck nearly 2,000 targets with more than 2,000 munitions. We have severely degraded Iran's air defenses and destroyed hundreds of Iran's ballistic missiles, launchers, and drones. And in simple terms, we're focused on shooting all the things that can shoot at us. Our B-2 bombers and B-1 bombers have executed uncontested surgical strikes against
Uncontested surgical strikes.
multiple missile facilities deep inside Iran. And then just last night, a B-52 bomber force struck ballistic missile and command and control posts. We are also sinking the Iranian Navy, the entire Navy. Thus far, we've destroyed 17 Iranian ships, including the
17 Iranian ships. Now, you may remember a day or two ago, the number was 8 or 9. And then I think President Trump said it was up to 11. Well, it's already up to 17. And listen to this.
most operational Iranian submarine that now has a hole in its side. For
An operational Iranian submarine that now has a hole in its side.
decades, the Iranian regime has harassed international shipping. Today, there's not a single Iranian ship underway in the Arabian Gulf, Strait of Hormuz, or Gulf of Oman.
And that's big. You know why that's big? Because the Iranian Revolutionary Guard were threatening to blow up the Straits of Hormuz, which is where 30% at least of all of the shipping and oil and everything, export, all that stuff goes through those waters. And so they know that in order to hurt the United States and others, if they blow it up and blow up oil tankers and blow up their own oil stuff, it's going to affect gas prices considerably. Now, I already told you the other day, gas prices are going to go up. There's no question about it. But it'll be temporary, but it's going to go up for probably 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that, and then it should start to go down. But we just eliminated that threat, long-term threat, through the Straits of Hormuz is what he's talking about. Here, I'll back it up just a tiny bit.
Today, there's not a single Iranian ship underway in the Arabian Gulf, Strait of Hormuz, or Gulf of Oman, and we will not stop. We will continue to conduct dynamic targeting operations. We're hunting Iran's last remaining mobile ballistic missile launchers to eliminate what I would characterize as their lingering launch capability. Now, in retaliation, the Iranian regime has launched over 500 ballistic missiles and over 2,000 drones. To be clear, Iran is indiscriminately targeting civilians as they launch these missiles and drones. You've seen it on TV. The evidence is crystal clear and overwhelming. Having said this, we are seeing Iran's ability to hit us and our partners is declining, while our combat power, on the other hand, is building. And my overall operational assessment is that we are ahead of our game plan. Along the way, every single branch of our military is achieving unprecedented success. I'll talk about just a few of them. Our naval forces have deployed multiple waves of cruise missiles, obliterating Iranian command and control and air defense capabilities. From 2 aircraft carrier strike groups, we're squeezing Iran from the sea and have them backed into their own ports. U.S. air forces are doing what they do best, executing a high volume of airstrikes right into Iran. Operationally, the 2 most powerful air forces in the world, the U.S. and Israel, are dominating the skies of the world's largest state sponsor of terror. Our U.S. Army soldiers are defending ourselves and our partners, and in a historic first, the U.S. Army fired long-range precision strike missiles called PRISMs in combat, providing an unrivaled deep strike capability. Also for the first time, U.S. Central Command's drone task force, called Task Force Scorpion Strike, launched countless one-way attack drones, achieving massive effect.
Scorpion one-way attack drones. That sounds like kamikaze drones. That sounds like what Iran has been doing. That also sounds like we shot down some of those drones and then, I don't know, probably reverse engineered them and then sent them right back to them.
Effects. I'd like to point out these drones were originally an Iranian design. We took them back to America, made them better, and fired them right back at Iran. I just could not be prouder of our men and women in uniform, leveraging innovation to create dilemmas for the enemy. There is no adversary too determined, no mission too difficult for the great soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Guardians, and Coast Guardsmen that make up the most powerful military the world has ever seen. Our military objectives are crystal clear, and our people are executing an immensely complex and historic mission with relentless lethality, conviction, and professionalism. And we've just begun. But I have the utmost confidence that we, alongside our partners, will absolutely achieve our military objectives. To all our warriors, Godspeed.
There you go. God bless the USA. God bless our military. We are kicking ass, taking names. We are isolating this regime. See, that's what's interesting about this. Because you have, I would say, Gulf states, Arab countries, that for the most part were at least, contentious towards the United States. Some of them very contentious, like Iran and Syria in the past and things like that. Qatar, Oman, things like that. Well, these states are now really, really pissed off because, as he said, they're just indiscriminately firing off. It's kind of like at the 4th of July when you see the rockets go up and, the fireworks go up and you hear the boom. Then you hear you see the sprinkling of the fireworks, right? Then you see a few more. Then you see a few more. And then eventually you get to what? The grand finale? Where they're just the whole sky's lit up. Boom, 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 boom. That's what Iran's regime is, okay? Not to compare it to anything patriotic. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that they are basically shooting it all off because they know it's the end. Does that make sense? That's what they're doing right now. And I couldn't be prouder for the United States. I couldn't be prouder for Israel. I think this is wonderful. I think when this is all said and done, that you are going to have so many more countries join the Abraham Accord and the Accords. It's going to be mind-blowing. And think about it. All these presidents, every single one of them, none of them could achieve peace in the Middle East. And we are on the precipice. We are on the cusp of it. Because once Iran is removed from the equation, I can't imagine after suffering for 47 years, they're going to pick another dictator. I mean, I know there's news that the son has now taken over and he's the, quote, supreme leader. But as soon as I heard that, I went to X and I put at Guinness Book of World Records, get ready to change the record for the shortest serving, world foreign leader. Because he's not going to be around much longer, trust me. And so that's what we're doing. We're wiping out all of their potential people. And so I think you're going to see 27, 28, somewhere around there, you're going to see Iran, believe it or not, be almost like Syria with us, where we're actually not hostile towards each other and, quite frankly, semi-allies. And I think the whole area is going to be a lot more peaceful, because we are removing the people from the equation that were causing the most disturbance. So I think this is going to be amazing. You're going to see Jews and Iranians unite. You already see it in towns and in different countries and cities in the United States, and of course in other countries. You're seeing Jews and Arabs uniting, and Iranians singing and dancing with each other and everything else. So this is a positive thing. Now we got to make sure we're not allowing all of these people to come here to our country, obviously. But I just think that this is going to end, and it's going to end very soon. I would assume by April 1st, if not even sooner. I mean, look what we've already accomplished in such a short amount of time already. So keep up the fight, keep going. United States military, and of course the Israeli Defense Forces and Mossad and everybody else. Every time they get together to pick a new leader, boom, they get blown up. So let's hope and pray that that keeps happening, and that God protects our great soldiers in uniform, and we free these people from tyranny. And let's hope that they really appreciate it. It certainly seems as though they do, but let's make sure that they do the right things in the future, and don't make it so we got to come back and do this all over again. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.